AITH, for choosing my happiness over my family's expectations. I come from a family where everything is planned out for you. My parents always had clear ideas of what they wanted for us, their children. They wanted us to get high-paying jobs, live in nice houses, and most importantly, to never disappoint them. That was the priority. It didn't matter what we wanted, as long as we followed the path they had set. I'm the youngest of three, and my older siblings had always followed what our parents wanted. They became doctors and engineers, had stable jobs, and lived the kind of lives our parents expected. I had always been a quiet kid, not very outgoing, but my parents never seemed to mind. They just assumed I'd fall in line like my siblings. But I never felt at home in that life. From a young age, I found myself drawn to art and design. I loved to paint and create things, to imagine different worlds through my art. It brought me peace, happiness, and a sense of purpose that nothing else ever did. But it was a passion that my parents didn't understand. They would say things like, "Art doesn't pay the bills," or "You need to have a stable career to support yourself." When I was about 18, I had to choose what to do with my life. My parents pushed me toward studying something practical, like business or computer science. I tried to convince them that I wanted to study graphic design, but they told me it was a waste of time. I remember the look on their faces, the disappointment in their eyes when I suggested it. "That's not a real job," they said. "You need to think about your future." I decided to take a step back and take their advice. I enrolled in a business program because I didn't want to disappoint them, but deep inside, I felt like I was giving up a part of myself. Every day, I would sit in class, listening to lectures about things I didn't care about, wishing I could be at home painting or designing something. I felt trapped, suffocated by the expectations that weren't mine. One evening, after a year of struggling with my emotions, I broke down. I couldn't do it anymore. I called my parents and told them that I couldn't continue in business school. I wanted to follow my heart and pursue a career in art and design. I told them that I knew it wouldn't be easy, but it was what made me happy, and I didn't want to spend my life pretending to be someone I was. My parents were furious. They said I was being reckless and selfish, that I was throwing away all the opportunities they had worked so hard to give me. My mom cried, saying that I was making a huge mistake and would regret it. My dad told me that I'd never amount to anything if I didn't follow the path he had laid out for me. It was one of the hardest moments of my life. I knew they were hurt, and part of me wanted to take it all back and go back to the safe choice. But I also knew that if I did that, I would lose myself completely. I didn't want to live a life of regret, constantly wondering what might have been. I decided to stand firm. I switched my major to graphic design despite the pushback from my family. Over the next few years, I struggled. I had to fight hard to build my career, and there were many moments where I felt like giving up. But with each step, I got closer to the life I had dreamed of. I started to freelance, working with small businesses, and slowly but surely, my portfolio grew. Then one day, something amazing happened. My parents came to visit me in my apartment. They didn't say much at first, but then my mom looked around at my paintings, my design work, the way I had turned my apartment into a reflection of who I was, and she smiled. It was a small smile, but it meant the world to me. My dad looked at my work, then at me, and nodded. "You've done well," he said. That moment, when they finally acknowledged my choice, meant more than any accomplishment I could ever achieve in my career. It wasn't just about them accepting my profession. It was about them seeing me, not just as their child, but as someone who had the courage to live their own truth. It wasn't always easy. There were many sleepless nights, a lot of doubt, and a lot of moments when I questioned myself. But today, I'm doing what I love, and I'm happier than I've ever been. My relationship with my parents is still a work in progress, but we're getting there. They may not always understand my choices, but they respect them now. I guess what I'm asking is, AITH, for choosing my own happiness and dreams over my family's expectations. I know it hurt them, and I love them, but I had to follow my heart. Would you have done the same in my shoes?